When I come into a room with a group of students, I tell them my background, and then I say why I love this. Why is this the place that I come from? And I say because when I see performers who have this training, they're grounded, they're like, what does that mean? They're dynamic, what's that? But when I say they're fearless, they have a spark in their eye, they've got something, they've got an element of risk-taking that I don't see in other performers. And when I say that, I see them hook in. It's something that they can grab onto. Another thing that I say is that, which I've echoed before, we're so, as a woman, working through that idea of I'm not tall, I'm not leggy, I don't have big boobs, like I'm not a leading lady, and I'm not beautiful. Well, I'm not beautiful in the sense that what an Australian, for example, I was in Australia, has a really specific stereotype of what that is. And so, you know, at a certain point going to auditions and being like, oh, when am I going to get something? I'm feeling like it's a reflection on, you know, it's a reflection on how I look, how I fit in and or not. So this training for me went beyond that and goes beyond. I'm not conventionally, I don't look a conventional kind of way, I have something else. And this training was able to help me get at that something else, help me be unique and help me be me. And so quite often, that's a way that I find students can also hook in. Okay, so the other part of this, the exercises that we'll do today is having a relationship with the space, having a relationship with the floor, and having a relationship with each other. Putting the mind in this part and moving that forward. Like we're moving this first. So now when you're walking this time, soften your knees, ground down into your feet and move forward from the belly. Soften your knees. 3, 2, 1, go. From the belly, from the belly. Keep going, keep going. Yep. And freeze. Oh, that was hard. Any comments or thoughts or feedback?
Something that I noticed observing Dom was the first time round there was so much extra. There was but then coming from the centre, actually all of that extraneous movement kind of was channeled into, and that like your entire aspect transformed, your entire energy transformed. It was a very clear line of progression between one experience and the next.
The first option, interesting, holding of the breath, but an outwards intention. So this dichotomy, whereas the second round, breathing, but inward intention. So I found that interesting. Yeah.
I saw you were playing with something there. Yeah.
Even as the person on the ground holding the feet, like the second time I was feeding that information as in, okay, well I'm moving from my core. And I found a sort of a new surgence of energy myself being able to, because the first time I was like, whoa, I'm just getting pulled across this space. But the second time there was more of that sort of meeting of the energy, so it also applies to the person on the floor.
Yeah, the first one I kind of saw like an activity. In the second one I saw like purpose emerging, like, and it was taking me somewhere, like starting to, it just took me took me to some kind of role. There was mystery, but the first one was like more like an activity that we knew. We could read it. We could predict what's happening. And the second one was like, where are they going? Where are they going?
So I use this as one of the first immediate bridges to the training, and then I'll say, this is the centre is the place where we work from in the kind of training that I do, and one of the things that came up in what you said is when we're walking with our legs, like the arms were flailing everywhere. It was messy. You couldn't quite see the person. It was hard to focus. Yet when people focused down and were grounded, suddenly you could see that there was more energy in them. They were calmer, even though you're actually working a lot harder, maybe not harder than the first time, but different. And it created, there was space that was created around you. So I pulled from what that was and what came up in the audience responses, student responses, to create the bridges over to what we're going to be doing in the training.
What do you call that?
Can I just say something there too, please? Following on from what Sam was saying, it's interesting because I think the second time you tend to see more of a symbiosis between the two people, rather than just that oppositional. It becomes actually a sort of duet, so to speak. You're alluding to that yourself, and so when you go to your centre, then you're sort of forcing other people to go to their centre as well. So it becomes a sort of demand and response. Turns into a play, actually, doesn't it? Rather just he said, she said. There's actually a story going on. Glenn says it's mysterious, but it's nevertheless at core.
So it's interesting that core is the two people working together, not just here. It's actually, like you call it, the symbiosis.
Be mindful of its attention of both going against the music and playing with the music. Play with the music when you're improvising. Use it. But the Peppermint Man, you're not bouncing to the beat. That's easy. Bounce against the beat. Use the jingles so that there's a jing 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 jing. Use that idea of your arms. Like let it come back when you're improvising. So when you improvise, you've got a couple of different things you can play with. You've got peppermint, you've got this jiggling, and you've got these big things that you do, and you've got with arms you can do as well. So draw on those things when you improvise, and it's quite a quick change into the improvisation. Yeah, I'll just call it improv. Go. Okay. So when you're ready, arms by your sides, looking forward.
My name is ranting tongue with precision lyric bouncing to your pronto. Dancing a fashion not to keep you smiling. Run off me mouth.
Go when the song comes in. Go. Don't go to the music. Think of your center bouncing. Your center bouncing. It's in the center. awareness. Be careful with each other. Bigger. Bigger. Explore the space. Everybody's in a clump right now. Explore the space. Ground to the feet. Pause. Go. Go. Improvise. Go. Move your center through the space. Yes. More energy. You're in a clump. Get out of the clump. Yes. Explore stillness if you haven't been still. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Freeze. Speech, go.
Oh, splendor of sunburst breaking forth this day, whereon I lay my hands once more on Helen my wife.
Stronger, go.
And yet it is not so much as men think, for the woman's sake I came to Troy. But against that guest proved treacherous, who like a robber carried the woman from my house.
Quiet, go.
Oh, splendor of sunburst breaking forth this day, whereon I lay my hands once more on Helen my wife.
Whisper.
And yet it is not so much as men think, for the woman's sake I came to Troy. But against that guest proved treacherous, who like a robber carried the woman from my house.
You've just worked really, really hard. Give that energy to the audience. Out the front, give it to them. Give that energy to the back of the room. And let it go.